Elsewhere, the Kenya Revenue Authority is advocating for the private sector to run low commercial risk infrastructure projects in order to reduce the bureaucratic slowdown of projects witnessed in the country. KRA Board Chair Francis Muthaura says that the private-public partnership framework in place is not efficient and a change of methods is essential to remedy Kenya's inefficient model of infrastructure.
The public-private partnership framework that came into effect in 2021 was aimed at including the private sector in partaking in public projects and infrastructure. KRA Board Chairman Francis Muthaura says even with this, infrastructure projects still surpass the given time frame, which begs for a shift in the infrastructure development model the country has adopted. He says there's a general lack in foresight when undertaking infrastructure projects, which has added to the poor turnaround in projects in the country.
And you have to bring in PPPs. PPPs are the answer, because once the private sector is satisfied with the conditions, there is no what one may call bureaucratic slowdown.
He says infrastructure projects should be categorized at inception to determine the best suited parties to partake in it. He called on the government to be more strict with follow-up of timeframes for project delivery to endorse an efficient culture in the sector.
The model you have here for infrastructure and development is a very slow process, because you have to go to the World Bank, negotiate. Sometimes by the time you realize the project, 10 years have passed. Just one project.
He said this during the second day of the Program for Infrastructure Development in Africa, where a conglomerate of African thought leaders and delegates have convened to chart the way forward for infrastructure development in the continent. Experts in infrastructure and regional integration have advocated for a trans-state trade mechanism to endorse free trade across Africa, noting that strengthening infrastructure is essential in achieving this. They say that judging by history, infrastructure placed in the hands of the private sector are thriving, and nations across the continent should adopt this method for the good of the continent.
We need to have integrated policies, not just countries having isolated policies, but policies that connect with our neighbors, policies that connect across the continent, and policies that foster joint development programs so that we can jumpstart Africa's growth. We can open up Africa. We can champion industrialization. We can champion manufacturing, and we can create jobs.
In the future, at some point, we will be able to have a digital economy where African countries will intertrade and will be able to do payments without thinking of the consequences of currencies.
Hibak Said for Prime Edition.